respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves. And then this kind of, all these ideas are connected with each other. So, I think of, when we talked about the law of the lid, if you're 7, you're not going to follow a 5 or 6 very long before you move on, or, same thing if you're an 8, if you're a 9, if you're 10, you're going to, you're just going to follow someone that can, because you want to be a part of, most people I think want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So if they're not growing, especially if you're wanting to intentionally grow, but to do that, to be a top leader, you have to have the respect of people, because that's what happens. I mean, if you're an 8, you begin to lose respect for 6s, 7s, because they just aren't, leading. They're just not where you need them to be. So, but respect has to be earned, and people don't follow others by accident. Leadership is always a choice. The only way it's not a choice is in a job situation where you're actually getting paid and you have to listen to that person.
That's just filling positions.
Yeah, that's just filling positions. It's not necessarily because you choose, but
that would be respecting the office.
I've always had a hard time with that. I've always had a hard time with somebody telling me what to do that ain't doing nothing.
Right.
I'm like, well, why are you telling me to do this?
Right.
You're standing there taking somebody's money, and you ain't no smarter than I am. No way.
Right.
Doing the same thing.
Right.
But you're hired to watch over.
Yeah.
But you ain't doing nothing. Wasting money.
In a lot of times,
It's like that.
people will move on. Unless it's just a job they have to have, or it's a good enough job. Like, situation where my it's still this way in some places, but it's starting to be less and less in a factory setting. The supervisor, because you're a laborer, your overtime and everything, you're making more money than the supervisor.
Right.
And so sometimes it's the supervisor, but you're making more money than they are, so you just go with it and do what they say, and just, what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's worth it. You're willing to do that.
Right.
But especially in most of what we do in volunteer positions, in volunteer situations, people will move on. And honestly, that's why, I've been here a long time. And the honest fact is, I've sat in many leadership meetings. I've seen many department heads come and go.
Yeah.
The reason, and people complain all the time, no one wants to help me, no one wants to help me. A lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, it's because they don't want to follow their leadership.
That's it. Yeah.
And then the person tells them themselves, because within a couple months they quit. So I've seen it time and time
Who
again.
cares if somebody won't help?
I've seen it time and time again. So.
Does that differ from what God told you to do? That's the main thing. That used to bother me, is people, it wasn't just helping any leadership. It wasn't, you might get 2 or 3 volunteers, you know how to live.
Yeah.
You guys, the family, end up doing everything. It's like, you
Well,
guys are going to take on another thing?
And
it's like,
especially in the kingdom of God, it's your why. Again, you don't take on a position because it's a position. You take on a position because it's what you do. And if it's what you do, you'll do it no matter what. And then typically, because of the energy you have for it, you'll attract other people. It may take time, but eventually other people, you'll get a few or a handful others to help you fulfill the mission. So
another realm, so to speak, of where you have to give respect, and you would expect there to be respect worthy, or the office be worthy of it, but that's in the home.
Mm-hmm.
You've got parents that that should be given respect, but they don't always earn it. but the office of their position, father, mother, parents.
Sure.
Part of it wasn't handed down. The parents didn't teach them respect, so they don't know how to pass on.
It's hard to have a leadership position without respect, because people,
Well,
like
you
you said,
can't.
you ain't gonna have, you're not gonna stay.
Yeah.
Period. Unless, like you said, it's more of a dead end job because they're just gonna get the money that they need for that time and move on. I've done it myself. I can't. I'm not working under this dude.
Well,
and I've always worked under somebody. It's not, well, I'm too good or I can't take orders. I've
Oh,
done it all
yeah,
my life,
yeah,
but it's who I'm getting orders from.
Right.
It's like, well, what are you doing?
Right.
This is a waste. I mean,
Right.
you're not doing it. You're not a leader, really. You can tell it because
Well-
people, they're just kind of, they're shy. They're, you can tell that somebody told them to tell you instead of. So
Well, there's
everybody
all-
doesn't mean you go over here. Say, leader, to me, leader's a guy that's, he's 4 steps ahead and he needs you to help him complete this task.
Right.
And I can see that when they're placing people in parts to get done what they need done. I do
Right,
that. I
right.
think, I got to do 5 things. I need 3 guys to do this. Well, I'm doing this. They can be doing this.
Right.
I'm going to get that job done.
Right.
And you're not standing and you're leading because you're working. I always had respect for a guy that worked hard like that and was telling you what to do at the same time.
Right.
You're
Right.
like, that dude's awesome. He's a hard worker, man, and he knows how to do this and that.
Right.
That's a difference.
Well, a lot of times too, you know, it's when you in those situations you're hitting the ceiling, and sometimes it's not a glass ceiling. Sometimes it's a ceiling that's placed there by the person that's in charge, or the boss, or the organization. And then sometimes you just have to move, you know, so you can grow.
I
So
think people want to get on board when they see somebody working towards something and they're,
Right.
whether they get 2 people or 20,
Right.
they're still at
Well,
hard.
and that's like,
man, that's cool.
Victory Lane Camp that I'm a part of. You know, when I was originally asked, it was just like, okay. I mean, it was kind of, because we, you know, we work with families with disabled children, and it was, you know, it's always an issue that I think of, and it's close to my heart and my emotions. You know, out of sympathy and compassion, but I don't know anything about it. You know, I don't know. Okay, how did you know? And so I came to a few meetings, and it's like, here's a table of quality people. You know what I mean? And it's like and I told the CEO, I'm like, you know, and really, initially, it's on some of my reason for saying yes is almost selfish, because I need to be a part of this, because these people are further than I am.
Yeah.
I need to be a part of something bigger than myself. You know, and so I connected, and have kind of started to grow into, and now, you know, the strengths that I do have, I've been able to put it on the table and help. But I'm still growing in this organization because of the leadership that's around the table. You know, we're all pulling each other. So and there's a respect there, and there's a desire there, because I see there's not a ceiling. So I see we can still grow.
That's in the leadership book there too, is if you surround yourself with people better than you, you're going to get better. Because you're going to either follow, or even if you follow or you're leading, you're going to get better by the people surrounded by you. It's like Michael Jordan.
Right.
When they was around him, they got better as a team. But and it's the same way in anything.
Yeah.
And I always tried to do that playing music. Surround yourself with people that's way better than you, and you'll get better.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
And
you know, in anything, baseball or anything.
yeah, and even if you are a strong leader and you've got different ones who desire to spend time with you, you are going to gain qualities that they have that you don't have, just because of the fact that you're being surrounded by.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a 7 or an 8 and you've got 5 and 6, you know, level of leaderships around you, because they desire to gain the insight and the knowledge and the leadership qualities that you have, you're still going to gain from them too, because they have some things that you don't.
I think there's always something to take away.
Yeah.
You know, always something to take away.
Mm-hmm.
In most all situations.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I think too, I think it's, guess to throw out there as a piece of advice or just a principle is when you're leading, you will always have people that you're leading, right? Because if you're a leader and have no one following, you're just taking a walk, right?
Right.
So you're always going to be in the mentor position, so to speak. But you should always, if you find yourself not in a position or a group that you feel like you're the subordinate, you need to find one. In other words, because you should always be part of something that's pushing you and pulling you. Mm-hmm. You should always surround yourself with people that are beyond where you're at. At the same time, you're mentoring and you're leading others. That way you're growing, because if you stop growing, they can't grow any further than you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's this constant relationship. So be sure that we place ourselves, because everyone around this table is in a position of leading something or someone. Mm-hmm. So be sure you're also part of a group that is pulling you further and challenging you.
Right.
I love to be challenged in my thought, in my philosophy, in my belief system. I love to be challenged. One thing I really enjoy is kind of off subject, but we're still kind of in this vein, but I like listening and reading and hearing different biblical Christian worldview perspectives, if you will. Mm-hmm. Especially with many of the issues we face today. Mm-hmm. Because it stretches me and it makes me go, okay, yeah, I see that, right. But then I'll come back, but what about this? You know, and then, okay, yeah, I see that. Now what about this? And it's just back and forth. It's like exercise. You know, it's that push, pull, and it stretches you and it causes you to open yourself up to things. It makes you look in the mirror and make you think, maybe I'm closed-minded on this. And then sometimes you go, no. God says, no, it's not you. You're where I need you to be, you know. But sometimes he says, yeah, now you see it. Now I can take you further. You know what I mean? So it's like I was in a committee meeting yesterday, or the other day, Friday. We were talking about the bathroom, transgender,
yeah,
some of these things that some people at the federal level are trying to, you know,
shoehorn.
Yeah, you know, and even some of the solid, you know, leadership, which I, you know, Luke Messer is, you know, he's been pretty solid. I mean, you can see that he's trying to be a good leader. He's trying to take it all into consideration. But there was a recent vote where many of us on, it was pretty much all of us, on his faith-based advisory committee were like, okay, we got some questions here. And it was such a big issue that some of the more influential leaders of the group, I guess, that I haven't seen at too many meetings, actually attended this one. Mm-hmm. Because of the subject matter and the importance. And it's interesting to kind of open up this debate, if you will. Okay, why? To hear both sides and have that back and forth. And then when it's all said and done, I think all of us around the table just came to the conclusion that, look, this issue, there is no compromise.
I mean, there's just not, because each state's to handle that, because California's got more than what we would have. We got 0.5% maybe.
Yeah, and
on is way, they blow that way out of proportion.
On that particular issue, Luke has introduced a bill that takes the authority of the federal government from, because what it was the federal government was going to take away the money from the schools.
Mm-hmm. Right. either you do this or we'll defund
So
you.
that's
Pull your money.
So he introduced a bill that would eliminate that would keep the federal government from taking that money based on that, and that it would give it the authority to make the decision to the local.
How many people do you know that's a transgender?
Yeah. Right.
Well, in
we
Indiana, I don't.
Well,
maybe I'm sure there's some, but like I said, each state's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not in New York and California, bigger states that could be.
Right.
But come on, man, it's not. It's under 1%. If
not a
you do
big
it all
issue.
over the United States,
Well,
it's like you act like there's 5,000 million of these people walking like it's a Muslim, or like there's 50 million of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, there ain't that many at all.
And that was pretty much the conclusion we
crazy.
came to is, look, it won't be any bigger than we amplify it.
I think Cruz even said that.
If we highlight it, everybody's going to see it. You know what I mean? If we amplify it, but it just, you set your guard, like Luke, he's trying to put something in place to kind of a stopgap, in other words.
Yeah.
But anyways, the whole point of that was to say that it's nice to be around people that are more experienced than you are in certain ways, and to be able to hear their viewpoint, because like this issue, I've tried to be strong in the word, but then yet also say, okay, how can I be compassionate here? What would Jesus do? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times we look at some of these faith issues and we sit here and we analyze it ourselves. Okay? We'll read the Bible, we'll look at Scripture, and we analyze it ourselves, and we do a lot of comparing, and we should do some, but I think sometimes we end up getting caught up in doing too much comparing to, okay, how does society view this? And then, so my reaction is based on how society sees it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, we're all sitting around there and it's like, okay, wait a second. We're a part of a political agenda here, okay? We're a faith-based advisory to a political figure involved in government. But, fellas, what would Jesus do? Because when it boils down to it, the reason we're at this table is because we serve God. Who is our God? Is it government or God? Is it money or God? Mm-hmm. Well, if God's our God, what would Jesus do? Jesus, let's face it, he was loving, he was compassionate. God is love. Yeah. But Jesus was one of the most discriminating people that the earth has ever known. In that, he says in the Word, if you fall under these certain categories, you do not enter in. Mm-hmm. The way is straight. Right? That is the Word. That is who he is.
If you're not compromising the Word, and that's all the main decision in your life has got to be. Right. I know this much Word, I'm giving this revelation, and you're accountable for what you're giving. Right. And in your life, you got to know, am I compromising the Word by letting this pass? Or if not, then it's okay. Right. And I feel it, and I can let it go, and it's good in my spirit, and I'm good with this. And no matter what the outcome is, I'm good with it, because there's so many borderline things today that I feel that we compromise and overlook because they use the love of Christ to compromise. Right. But also, God said they're like a den of thieves. He come in and turned the tables over and said, no, this ain't happening. Right. Because and two, is it something that they'll pass to get something out? First, it starts with they come out of the closet. Then they got gay marriages. Then now it's transgender. So it's a climbing thing. It's not something that it's stopping there.
And that's what we said at the table is.
And look at the other countries. Ain't nobody got all that. You're lucky to get any law. You're lucky to be allowed to even be in public without being killed. Right. Quit complaining.
Well,
and they forget that. Or go to another country. There you go.
If it was left to us, and this is what I said at the table, if it was left to us, it wouldn't be an issue because we're not the ones forcing the issue. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when they're forcing the issue, we either stand firm
Yeah.
Or we back down.
Compromised God's principles from the Constitution on. What we found that freedom of religion didn't mean everybody that had an idol could come in and worship. That's not what freedom of religion meant. And that's what Obama has made it. Yeah. We're not a Christian country. No, we're just anything country. Yeah. Because they've took the principles of God, broke down the Constitution, and compromised.
Yeah.
And from there on, like you said, it's just, where does that quit?
Yeah.
If we pass this, something's going to come
Well,
back.
and that was the whole point, is this is an issue you can't
It's almost
give.
absurd
Because it's all or
really,
nothing.
and if you really put it in perspective and you think about it, let them do that in another country. Because the Black Lives Matter is the same thing. Where in the world, think about it. This is real easy. Does a black man get a chance like they do in the United States? Where? You tell me where. Not even Africa, right here.
Well,
and how can you complain
Yeah.
when you got everything at hand? And it's like, if you don't like our country, go over there and see how they treat the gays over there. You guys go over here and see how they do it.
Right.
I guarantee you'll be flying back real fast.
Right.
And
Well,
you'll
that's
shut
where
up.
we
But
see that it's at its roots, it's a spiritual battle.
it is, and that's what I feel about it, because I have thought a lot about it. Not to be mean to them, because I used to be though.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, they have the whole world. Why United States? This ain't just here. I mean, but they don't have it there and here and here and here. Why? Because they follow the principles, even the Allah or God or whatever. That ain't happening. And it's like, well, why are we allowing it?
Yeah.
I went through that in my mind. I thought, is that harsh? I'm like, no.
Well,
that's just the world.
We're becoming, the religion is becoming humanism.
Exactly.
We're actually, our country is developing and starting to follow a religious philosophy without calling it religion.
I think the propaganda that through TV and everything, we've been programmed to compromise.
Yeah.
It's okay because we got this TV show, that 2.5
how it all
men, we
starts.
got this, we got,
That's how it all starts.
It's
yeah.
crazy. It's like
Little by little, bit by
the
bit.
brainwashing. You know what I mean? That's how it started in Germany. I heard a lady talk about that lives here now that went to the concentration camps, and she said this is how it started in Germany with the TV.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And,
yeah.
she said that it was propaganda. From the news on.
There's a fellow by the
pretty crazy.
name of Goebbels.
It was pretty crazy.
He was their propaganda guy.
Yeah, they had guys set up for that.
And so many people think that that it's all in the news, and it's like you said, 2.5 men. It's all these
Crazy.
I know when my kids were growing up, one of the worst things that I could have allowed them to watch was Home Improvements. I mean, it was a given that they weren't going to watch something like 2.5 Men.
Yeah.
But something so subtle as Home Improvements. Why? Because what happened there? Or Full House. It's like the dad was stupid.
It was broken down families as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, and who could? What child is going to want, or wife is going to want to give respect to the leader of the house?
That's opening another can of worms right there, because T.D. Jakes is all over about how the men from the 60s to women's lib was actually a movement in the government to break down the family.
I have a hard time watching I Love Lucy.
You're right. Yeah.
And Brian thinks I'm crazy because you don't like to laugh. Yeah, but at what cost?
Yeah.
It's like a man of the house is stupid.
Yeah.
A woman of the house is just brainless. And
it's
and we
okay to
laugh
listen
at
to
it.
because he's Cuban, so.
And another one, yeah.
Hey, sometimes it's nice to watch those shows because it makes you feel better about yourself.
Well, this is true. But another one is Bewitched.
Yeah, that's.
When we grew up.
I always watched that, but it was off of Genie too.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Something that you had said, you were talking about
Witchcraft.
seeing things from a different perspective and such. And it made me think about if so many of us think, this person's perspective has a right to be heard. We need to understand that, and this person. And so we have 3 or 4, or maybe 5 or 6 perspectives, but God sees it from every single angle. You know, you've got this one topic or this one thing,
Right.
but there's a vast realm of understanding that is all around that. And it just brought to mind a scripture, Proverbs 1:5-7. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. Dark sayings. They're dark because they're not that clear. They're not that well understood. But he goes on to say, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
Yeah.
But fools despise wisdom and instruction.
That kills me how the Democrats do that. They'll take something that's strong, a strong point, and Obama will get it from the platform and they'll laugh at it to demeanor it of Christian value and just laugh at the scriptures. I got it on there. When I first started studying, I heard when I got on there, he said, "We're not a Christian nation." That was my journey. At that point, I started a journey with him. And then I heard the next video was, well, what should we believe? In Leviticus, he's cracking down the scriptures. And I'm thinking, man, he's laughing at, and that's what they do. Watch the Democrats. They laugh at issues. And to me, I'm like,
No,
this is like going right through me. I'm
one
thinking,
time
they
Obama
always laugh.
said James Dobson needs to learn how to understand the Bible.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Did you ever remember that?
Yeah,
Did you
I
hear that?
never heard that.
Said James Dobson needs to understand the Bible. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right then, when I heard that, I thought, this dude's
What
emotional.
Bible is that?
Right.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. It's just, you know what kills me, and like Chuck Nisler said, when I first heard him, that's what turned me on to him, is he said, why are you guys so surprised? You voted a Muslim in. He goes, the biggest lie of the whole 8 years was the first election. The media sold a man we didn't know nothing about. Sold you to vote for him.
Sure.
He said, so why do you expect him to do anything different than what he is programmed to do?
Yeah.
You guys lack the knowledge because you don't know who he is. You're surprised that he's doing these things that a Muslim would do if they was in charge. He said, it don't surprise me none at all because I know who he is.
Yeah.
And he said, if you know who somebody is and their values and what they stand for, then everything he's done is what he's supposed to do in his life.
And
not compared to us. We bought it, we voted. And it's like, that was the biggest lie. And you bought it, and now you're paying for it. And he said, don't be surprised.
more and more,
Worse.
more and more, I don't blame, for so long it was all about, okay, Obama this, Obama that.
Yeah.
But anymore, I really don't place the blame on Clinton, Obama, Trump.
No, there's people pulling the strings behind
Well, the thing is,
I never did either.
and I don't even, I think our government is, well, let's face it, some of them are doing the things that they said they would do. Some of them are doing things that they didn't say, but it was quite obvious that they would do opposite of what they say. The people put them there.
That's it.
I mean, there are some, throughout our nation, there are some loopholes and at times even manipulation of the election process. But when it boils down to it, the people of America, like people say, well, geez, look at our choices for president. Well, the people of America did that. I mean, maybe you individually didn't do that, but America has put these people at the forefront. That's our fault. So, we're getting what we've asked for. It goes back to, when the people cried out for a king in the scripture. Samuel tried to warn them. Samuel tried to tell them. And they said, we don't care. The people demanded, and God said, okay. And they got what they asked for. And then they've suffered for it ever since. Ever since, even to this day. Because of the decision they made to reject the ways of God and lean toward a humanistic, man-made religion. Because that's basically what it boils down to. They said, we want a man to lead us, to rule over us. We don't want God to rule over us any longer. We don't want these judges. We don't want it. We want a man. We want a person. We want to be like the world. That's what they said. We want to be like these other nations. So even though we're the chosen people of God, we don't want to be that anymore. We want to be like these other nations. And that's where we're at.
But Mommy, Daddy,
Yeah.
they get to do that.
Right? Same thing.
How-
And what do you hear today? What do you hear today? Why is Bernie Sanders so popular? Because so many people say we need to be like Europe. We need to be like Switzerland. We need to be like Sweden. We need to be like other nations. That's what they're saying. Bernie Sanders he's said it himself. We need to be like, but the thing is, what people don't get is these nations aren't as great as what they think they are. The income tax on average is 51% across the board, not just the rich, across the board.
Yeah.
Europe is about ready to go bankrupt because of their style of government. We've already seen it in Greece. Spain's in trouble. France is in trouble. Germany's trying to hold it all together. And yet we say that's what we want to be. And so we have the Samuels saying, you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that.
That's our job today.
But they're saying, yes, we do. And that's why we're right here where we're at.
Say people don't want to be educated, and if you're a Christian, you don't do that in the church because that's politics. But if you don't do that anywhere in your life, not vote for this guy because I think this is right, but hey, what does God say?
Right.
Not just about who to vote for, but what's He say?
Right.
Maybe your choices ain't that good, but you got to make a choice.
Well, and it's like she just read the
your
scripture.
knowledge.
She just read the scripture.
Yeah.
Fools despise wisdom.
People
And that's where we're at. We're in a
wants to
very
live
foolish
a lavish
place.
lifestyle is not going to vote for somebody that's going to take all their money and their stuff away. And that's a lot too of that Obama got in there. They don't want to lose their checks.
But what's bad is because they will not listen.
Yeah.
The very thing they're voting in will take their lifestyle.
Exactly.
They will. It's anyways.
The people are coming out today. The people are coming out to vote, or
it's a
Trump wouldn't be
humanistic.
there.
It's humanism. It's we are our own God. We can make our own way.
And I still look for. They're talking about putting another party in besides Bernie and her at the last minute, and it's in a plot from the White House even for Biden because they want Obama to still have ties in there. And I almost wrote that off, and I thought, well, wait a minute. Maybe that's why all this transient, the smoke screen and stuff to get it over here while they can do this behind the scenes. They always do that. I know
Well,
that.
it will get interesting if it goes to contested convention.
And that's what they said the
Democrats.
Republicans was going to do.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to run independent. Now they're talking about this.
Yeah, I know.
And you can go back and play the video, and that's what at least I like about Trump. He'll get the videos out there. And he's on it every day.
Yeah.
He said, I don't have to pay a dime. Everybody wants me on. He's like, he's arrogant, but so what? They're funding him. The ratings are up, but he'll play the videos. You know what I mean? He's like, well, they said this here.
Yeah.
Look, they said am I going to run independent? They bugged me about running independent.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're talking
Now
about
it's
having a
falling.
third party.
It is.
That,
Well, everything's falling apart.
Sure it is.
Things are wrapping up.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to me. Things need to fall apart because what's structured is horrible.
And what's
Right now,
going
it's like-
to matter is what we do individually.
We need to be a watchman. That's what really my point is not so much of saying our political point, and what I'm saying is, behind my reason is not political, but there's too much I want to say that I can't. It's got really nothing to do with politics, because behind it, that's why I don't blame them. I hated Obama, but I didn't hate him as a person as much as I hated the people pushing the buttons behind the scenes that I knew.
It's the whole philosophy.
I know what they're pushing for. One more word. They're putting everything trickles down.
Well, Henry Kissinger.
That's the goal.
Henry Kissinger,
The beloved man.
former
The beloved man.
Yeah.
That's horrible right there.
former Secretary of State and everything. When Obama was first running or first elected, one of the two, it was right there at the beginning. He said, Kissinger, in an interview, said, this is a perfect opportunity for him to institute a new world order. It's an interesting interview, but yeah, he did. He said it himself. We basically recognizing the fact that our nation, our world, is ripe for a new world order, and said it out of his own mouth. And said Obama would be a perfect person to do that because of the way he carries himself, how he presents himself, and
if you studied on this, you know that there can't be a one world order without the United States out of the way. You know that,
right?
And that's the whole thing that they're manipulating.
Well,
that's why our country's getting tweaked.
Yes.
Because we're in the way.
Yes.
Shut that.
Yes, you're exactly right.
But we're in the way.
Well, and
if he was out of the way, they would have done had one.
Right. And George Soros, one of the richest men in the world, that has been an Obama advisor when it comes to the financial bailouts and this whole plan. He said the United States is in the way of this worldwide process. As he said, we have the people have too much representation with our Congress and the way we function.
And I believe that's why he's put in to break down these values too.
He said, and so we see that deteriorating.
Yeah, and so it may not make a whole lot of difference how many parties we have.
No, if you know what's going on behind the scene,
we have yet to see if there's even going to be another election.
It's almost like political parties now, because I've thought a lot about this, so I'm in it. It's almost like political parties are just now becoming fellowships, a fellowship of friends to let the people with money pay for your dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it all boils down to it, what difference are we going to make? I mean, what is there still hope? And when I compare what's happening around the world with the scripture, it's almost as if we're at this point of no return. Man, I wish I had my other Bible because I could turn right to it. It was the New King James Version, but it was in Chronicles, and it talked about a time in the nation of Israel where they had rejected God so much that, and I don't know if it says in the King James Version, but the New King James Version, it ends this paragraph with, and there was no remedy. So for that moment, for that time for Israel, because they had rejected God so much, they rejected his prophet. And that's what it said. He sent the prophets. He sent people to warn. He sent people to guide and to instruct. But they continued to reject and reject and reject. And it actually ends with, there was no remedy. And I read that, and it was so powerful because, I just look at our nation and I look at our direction and I look at who we're about ready to put in leadership of this nation. No matter across the board, one of them's going to be there, probably. And I think, is there a remedy for this? I mean, if God does, let's say God's like his timing, he's not coming back for another 100, 200 years, just say. The world is in a time period, right? We're in, I don't know that they're set dates,
No,
but we
I
can
think
look over the course of the world, and there were phases of world change. So we have changed. We've been in a phase of world change for a little while. Now we have changed. So we have kind of set a course for a time period yet to be determined. And for this time period, when it comes to getting back to the Word of God, as a whole, as a nation, or as a world, there is no remedy. Because people are rejecting the medicine, if you will.
Yeah. Tammy told me Wednesday, I think it was, that within 2 years, everybody's on Medicaid will have to get it shipped.
And they've been saying that, though.
That's very.
They've been saying that since '69, though.
Very.
I
I'm
guess over
serious.
in California, they've already implemented it.
They have in some. I've seen.
Yeah, there's chips with FDA. There's companies with
We're the only
FDA
nation
approval
that ain't.
right now.
There's a lot in Europe, and they already got the
They
chip.
have
had it. It's RFID chip.
That was part of Obama's law with the
1300 in the Obamacare.
yeah.
Or HR 1300
It's all-
or 3200.
Several years
Read
ago.
that.
Several years ago, I sat down with. He's married to my cousin, and he worked. I don't know if he still does, but his job. It was a computer job, and his job was to begin connecting the healthcare system.
You guys need to read that. Read the bill. Read the bill.
And he's
HR
he's a
3200,
Christian.
because if you read that, that'll clear up what the agenda behind Obamacare is. They smoke screen some stuff, but that bill right there passed that chip, and it's right there in it. And it says we can implant that chip for different reasons, and it's on that bill. It's not a big bill. You can read 3200. It's not that much reading. No more than this page right here.
Yeah.
You can read it and it'll blow your mind. It's
Yeah.
like, I know what they're up to, and it's like, well, if you don't believe that, that's the bill. I
Well,
don't
what's
care.
so-
But
yeah.
somebody, this ain't hearsay. They said it's the bill got signed
That's
and
the way
passed.
it is. Yeah.
And it is that
Yeah.
way. And nobody
And
can
what's
tell me
so-
it's a conspiracy theory because it's right there.
Right. And what's so interesting is some of this stuff is just a matter of fact. That's what I've said for a long
I
time.
would just need to put it on the screen.
There's
right?
no reason to make stuff up,
Right.
because there are
It's a
facts
fact.
that state certain things that are.
How many people in here you think knows that about that bill right now?
Well, it's very
If you put it up on the
interesting
screen, you'd be like,
when you find some of those things
Really?
out, how it's
Freak
like
me out.
they are
that's how they pass that.
fulfilling prophecy. I mean, our nation is fulfilling prophecy.
They passed Obamacare, but they got that in there. That's what they did.
It was so
they
funny.
passed that, but they got that in
Yeah,
there.
it's
Right.
so funny that to so many people, this is nothing more than a book, yet the very things they're doing, it says they will do.
Yeah.
But that's exciting for believers
Bunch of
because you
fairy
know it's
tales.
true. You know it's true.
Bunch of fairy tales.
Yeah, right. But every day it's proving itself out.
I mean, if you have the
There's that
revelation.
scripture if you want to.
If you have the revelation.
Well,
Abundance.
yeah, it's
exciting.
crazy
It's
though,
hard now.
because sometimes it's just right there. Sometimes it's so obvious.
Here's that scripture if you want to. 2 Chronicles
Yeah.
36:16. But they mocked the messengers of God, despised his words, scoffed at his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord rose against his people, till it was never ending.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
What is?
They
Second
mocked the
Chronicles?
messenger.
36:16.
That's good. I'm going to use the mocking the messenger.
Mocking.
The